A registered prurient offender has been indicted in a murder-for-hire plot against a 12-year-old, saying, quote, she needed to end up dead. I'm thinking maybe this guy, between being the registered prurient offender and trying to do a murder-for-hire plot against a 12-year-old, may not necessarily be the greatest person. Let's read more. A 28-year-old registered prurient offender from Rhode Island has been indicted for allegedly enticing a 12-year-old girl to engage in prurient activity with him and then hatching a murder-for-hire plot to prevent her from testifying. Oh, good. So he solicited this girl to engage with him, and then is like, this is a witness against me, and I'm already a registered prurient offender. This 12-year-old might testify against me. How do I solve that problem? Let me create a murder-for-hire plot. Okie dokie. A federal grand jury has returned a 3-count indictment charging Chandler John Carande with 1 count of enticement for solicitation for the engaging of the prurient acts, committing felony offenses involving a minor while being an offender, and use of interstate commerce facilities in the commission of the murder-for-hire plot. According to a press release from the Department of Justice, he's accused of repeatedly communicating with the minor female victim via social media beginning December the 3rd of 2021. The individual, who was posing as a 17-year-old on December the 10th, allegedly picked up the victim from her school and engaged in some kind of prurient contact with her. Picked her up from her school, having solicited her on the internet. Previously registered prurient offender. The minor victim was discovered on the side of Jefferson Boulevard in Warwick approximately 4 hours later by law enforcement. Our gentleman over here who's behind all this, while in detention, apparently attempted to launch a murder-for-hire scheme aimed at eliminating the minor victim as a witness. While in custody, he communicated via telephone with another person. During these communications, he expressed intent that the victim be murdered and offered $200 in cash and equipment worth $1,500. It's alleged in the indictment that he told the other person the victim needed to end up dead because she was a witness. So yeah, this is just going just about as well as, okay, there's just so many lessons here, and I think they kind of speak for themselves, but, maybe not so much if you're a full-blown adult with the 12-year-old. Maybe not, having done that, solicit the murder. Maybe not using the prison's telephone equipment. Maybe not saying specifically you're trying to eliminate a witness to your crime, which incidentally is an enhancement to a murder charge. Okay. According to a report from Providence, Rhode Island, CBS affiliate, the person he spoke with while in detention was actually an undercover detective with the Rhode Island State Police, wherein he said, quote, I've got a 12-year-old witness and she needs to end up dead. You okay with that? The undercover detective was less okay. He has a history of prurient-related offenses dating back in nearly a decade. He was convicted in July 2014 on 1 count of first-degree child prurient offenses and 1 count of third-degree prurient assaults. If convicted, enticement is punishable by a minimum of 10 years. Committing it is in another 10 years. And interstate by murder for hire is punishable by a maximum of 10 years. So facing some time in prison relating to the child prurient interaction murder for hire plot thing. Okie dokie, let's wrap this up. Thus, that brings us to the end of the story of Chandler John Carande, 28, from Rhode Island, who claimed to be 17 and then picked the girl up and engaged with her and then tried to solicit her murder. It's going just that great over here in Rhode Island. And now the feds want a piece of him for, all the things I just mentioned. So we'll keep watching that. And at least for the moment, that brings us to the end of the discussion of this story.